Yes. I've started the recording. Hey, everybody, we're live and in stereo. So today we're gonna do practice session for reversible reactions. And without further ado and wasting our time, let's just straight up get into these questions. So question number one says methane reacts with steam to produce da 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 da. The forward reaction is it has a positive sign, and this positive sign always indicates that obviously the reaction is an endothermic reaction, right? So overall energy is taken in from the surroundings, right? The energy taken in during bond breaking is more than the energy given out during bond formation. It says the reaction takes place at 1000 degrees Celsius and 100 kilopascals pressure. The reaction is reversible and reaches equilibrium in a closed system. Obviously, equilibrium is reached in a closed system. What do we mean by equilibrium? That the rate of forward reaction must be equal to the rate of reverse reaction. And obviously, you know that the concentration of reactants and products are equal or are constant. The concentration of reactants and products are equal to each other, or are they just constant? Come on. They're constant. It is not necessary that they're equal to each other, but they are constant, right? So if I say, hey, you have 100 molecules of this left and 200 molecules of this left, and an equilibrium is reached, that means that every time these molecules will go on to form carbon monoxide and hydrogen, the carbon monoxide and hydrogen will go back to form these molecules again, right? So the amount of reactants and products not necessarily would be equal, but they're going to be constant. So if it's 100 at equilibrium, it'll always remain 100 at equilibrium, right? Let me just remove this beauty here. Okay, great. And you know that it's going to be a closed system or an isolated system. What does a closed system mean? That reactants and products cannot escape, right, or enter, right? Reactants and products can't escape, right? There's no influence of external factors. State two features of equilibrium. So what are the two features? Obviously the rate of forward reaction. You need to write the word forward. I'm writing FWD, but you need to write the word forward. So the rate of forward reaction is equal to the rate of reverse reaction. And obviously the amount or the concentration of reactants and products are equal or are constant. Yes, so the concentration of reactants and products are constant. Remember, they are not necessarily equal, but it will always be constant. Sir, can we say that the reactants and products, the concentration of reactants and products are no longer changing? Yes, kiddo, that's what constant means. Constant means they're no longer changing, huh? It's fine. It's fine. You could absolutely say this. Are we connected to the right mic? Let me just check, Reno. Double check, double check. No, we're not. Wait. Correct. Now we're connected to the right mic, right? Sir, are these the only 2 points about equilibrium? That is literally what equilibrium is, right? And closed system means that actually equilibrium has 3 points to it. Rate of forward reaction equals rate of reverse reaction. The concentration of reactions and products are equal, and it must be a closed system. But since he's already mentioned the term closed system here, we are only left with 2 more points to play around with, huh? And that's what he's asked. Okay, state and explain in terms of equilibrium what happens to the concentration of hydrogen. Okay, so we have hydrogen. Hydrogens are my product, right? So what happens to the concentration of hydrogen if the pressure is increased? What happens when the pressure is increased? We know that if you increase the pressure, it favors less number of moles or more number of gaseous moles. Favors fewer moles of gas or more moles of gas. Increase in pressure favors fewer moles of gas. So I could say, hey, increase in pressure, increase in P favors fewer moles of gas. Please, you need, see, it's a 2 mark question. So first you have to tell them what happens when you increase the pressure, and then you have to talk about equilibrium. So increase in pressure favors fewer gaseous moles or fewer moles of gas. Same thing. Gaseous moles, which are on which hand side? Which are on the left or right? Left hand side, right hand side. So if you check here, 1, 2, you have 2 moles of gas on the left. And if you check here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have 4 moles of gas on the right. So fewer moles are on the left hand side. So I could say increase in pressure favors fewer gaseous moles, which are on the left hand side. Therefore, position of equilibrium or equilibrium or position of equilibrium or equilibrium, दोनों एक ही बात है. Position of equilibrium shifts to the left, where there are fewer moles. Boom shakalaka. That's it. That's it. Literally, muft ke marks. Muft ke marks. Okay, muft ke marks. Muft ke marks. Acha, why does increase in pressure favor fewer gaseous moles? Increase in pressure favors fewer gaseous moles because obviously, if you increase the pressure, Lee Shartley says that the system will want to decrease the pressure, it will want to oppose this change, right? And if you check out, you know, the more moles of gas you have, the more gaseous particles there'll be and the more the pressure. So if you increase the pressure, the system will want to decrease the pressure and therefore it'll move towards fewer moles because fewer moles of gas would mean fewer molecules. And if there are fewer molecules, they would exert a fewer force per unit area, which is pressure, right? What happens to, yes, yes, yes. So the equilibrium shifts to the left, and you also have to talk about the concentration of hydrogen. Absolutely, Salahuddin is right. So you also need to talk about the concentration of hydrogen. So what happens to the concentration of hydrogen? Come on, what happens to the concentration of hydrogen? The concentration of hydrogen is obviously gonna decrease, right? So concentration of H2 decreases. Thank you. Thank you. See, that's what happens if you don't read the question carefully. So, see, he says, what happens to the concentration? So, we talked about where the position of the equilibrium shifts, but we also need to talk about the concentration of hydrogen decreasing, right? Because he talks about the equilibrium, we talked about the equilibrium, and we also need to talk about the hydrogen's concentration. Okay, what happens to the concentration of hydrogen if the temperature increases? So, increase in temperature favors endo or exo? Favors endothermic. Which is the forward reaction or the backward reaction? Which is, see, the forward, if you have a positive sign, that means the forward reaction is endo and the reverse reaction is exo. So if increase in temperature favors endothermic, that means it's going to favor the forward reaction. So increase in temperature favors endo, which is the forward reaction. It's such an easy paper, yeah. इसमें क्या है? And therefore, what happens to the concentration of the hydrogen? Obviously, hydrogen's concentration increases because the equilibrium shifts to the right, right? So therefore, equilibrium shifts to the right, and concentration of hydrogen increases. Boom shakalaka. Done, sir. आगे बढ़ूं, आगे बढ़ूं. A catalyst is used. Remember, what does a catalyst do? Does a catalyst have an effect? Does a catalyst have an effect on the position of equilibrium? No, it does not. So a catalyst only increases the rate of reaction, right? So there's gonna be no change in the position of equilibrium to the equilibrium. Now, you need to understand, if I just write no change to the equilibrium, it's a 2 mark question. So I'll only get 1 mark, right? I have to add something. Why is there no change? Ask yourself, why is there no change to the equilibrium? Because, because a catalyst does not affect the position of equilibrium. So you have to tell him, yeah? Position of equilibrium. No change to the amount of hydrogen. No change in conc of hydrogen. Yeah, why? Because the catalyst does not affect the position of equilibrium. Yeah, दो बातें पूछे ना सवाल में. What happens to the position of equilibrium and what effect does it have on the concentration of hydrogen? खत्म. Okay. Both copper and cobalt can form colored compounds, sorry. And we are gonna learn this later on in metals chapter, why it forms colored molecules or colored compounds, sorry. So we'll learn this later on. No, 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 no. Avinash, no. Avinash Singh said a catalyst does not affect the position of equilibrium because it does not take part in the reaction. No, a catalyst does take part in the reaction. It just doesn't get used up. Number one. Number two, the reason why it does not affect the position of equilibrium is because you learn that in A2, right? So when you learn your equilibrium constants, when you learn how to make the equilibrium constants and how to calculate the equilibrium constant, you'll realize that the equation that you use does not have catalyst in it, does not take into account a catalyst. And why doesn't it do that? You'll learn that later on when you talk about your ice tables in A levels. So for now, just know that a catalyst does not affect the position of equilibrium. Okay. What do you mean by position of equilibrium? Oh, kiddo, we've done this so many times. Position of equilibrium. If reactants are made, this position shifts to the left. If products are made, this equilibrium, which means that the overall reaction is gonna lie towards the left. It's gonna lie towards the reactants. There'll be more reactants, right? It's gonna lie towards the reactants. And the overall, if I say the equilibrium shifts to the right, the overall equilibrium is going to lie towards the product side. That's what we mean by the position of equilibrium shifting to the left or to the right, right? We've done this, yeah. Define the term water of crystallization. Yes, what is meant by water of crystallization? Remember when we talked about copper sulfate having these 5H2O molecules, we said that scientists did not like the word water molecules, right? They said H2O are also water molecules. These are also water molecules. So we need to differentiate between the two. That's why they call these water molecules as water of crystallization. Why? Because these are the water molecules present in a hydrated salt, right? So water of crystallization are water molecules present in a hydrated salt. खत्म. Present in hydrated, हाँ salt लिख ली, crystal लिख ले, present in a hydrated salt slash crystals. सही है, एक बात है, एक ही बात है kiddo. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Potato, potato. State the color and formula of hydrated cobalt chloride crystal. See, I told you you need to know this, right? So 2 marks के लिए सिर्फ यही, yes, 1 mark for this water molecules, just writing water molecules, and 1 mark for this. That's it. State the color or and formula of hydrated cobalt 2 chloride. So cobalt 2 chloride, COCl2. And how many water molecules does it have? How many water molecules does it have? How do you know it's COCl2? Because cobalt has an oxidation state of 2. So cobalt have a 2 plus charge, chloride has a 1 minus charge. Cross multiply, you get COCl2, huh? And how many water molecules does it have? Wrong, Noor. Wrong, Avinish. We've studied this. We've studied this. Copper sulfate has 5 water molecules. Cobalt chloride has 6 water molecules. See, that's why I told you you needed to know these. So what's the formula? It's COCl2.6H2. You can't be making these silly free mark mistakes. How, sir? You learn this in A2 chemistry when you talk about transition metal ions and ligands and complexes. Sir, I've heard about you a lot and it's truly an honor to be in your company. I'm looking forward to learning from. That's awesome, Hool. That's awesome. I'm glad. Thank you very much for your kind words. Acha, what's the color? What's the color of cobalt chloride? See, I'll write the equations for you. So copper sulfate, if it bonds with 5H2O molecules, obviously you're gonna get copper sulfate dot 5H2O, right? These water molecules are the water of crystallization. This is white. Anhydrous copper sulfate is white, anhydrated copper sulfate is blue, bluerino, right? But if you talk about cobalt chloride, it bonds with 6H2O molecules. And we know this. You should know this. We've studied this, yeah? And it gives you a hydrated salt of cobalt chloride, which is basically pink, right? So anhydrous cobalt chloride is blue, and hydrated salt of cobalt chloride is a pink, yeah? How do we calculate the amount of water molecules? Again, Avinish, you learn this in A2 chemistry when you learn about the d orbitals and when you learn about transition metal ions and the complexes that it makes and the ligands that it bonds. So you learn all of that beauty in A levels when you learn about the d orbitals. How do we answer the question? You answer the question because I've taught you these two equations. You answer the question because I've taught you these two equations. We've done this, right? We also talked about this forward reaction being exothermic and the backward reaction being endothermic in both cases. You can review the previous classes to go over this. Yes. So it says, what's the formula? The formula is COCl2.6H2O. Done. And what's the color? What's the color of cobalt chloride crystals? Again, it's pinkerino. That's pink. You should know this. कम ऑन यार, एक पूरी क्लास लगाई थी इस पे हमने. अच्छा, state the color change seen when a few drops of water are added to anhydrous copper sulfate. So again, see, it's the same thing over and over again. So if you have copper sulfate, CuSO4, why is copper sulfate's formula CuSO4? Because copper has a 2 plus charge, the oxidation is 2 plus, SO4 is 2 minus, the charges are equal, the formula is CuCuSO4. And how many water molecules are added? You should know that for copper, when anhydrous copper sulfate makes what? Makes a bond with these water of crystallization. How many water of crystallization does it bond with? 5, right? So it gives you copper sulfate dot 5H2O, sir. The forward is exo and the backward is endo. We know this beauty. Yeah. Why is backward endo? Because you literally heat it. When you heat it, you break the bond. Bond breaking is endo. That's why. Acha ji. So what's the color? Anhydrous copper sulfate is white and hydrated copper sulfate is blue. Acha, my question. Is this also a test for water present? Is this also a test for water? Can this be used as a test for water? So let's suppose I say, hey, Avinish, or hey, Hoor, or hey, Ayan, are there water molecules present in this particular liquid or in this solution? You guys will say, hey, let's check it out. You could either use copper sulfate, or you could also use anhydrous copper sulfate or anhydrous cobalt chloride, right? But it's going to identify the presence of water if it changes color, right? My question is, does that mean that you could drink that water? Presence of water, does presence of water mean that you could drink that water? Yeah, I am drinking it because not water. Yes, thank you. So we've gone over this so many times that, remember, presence of water does not indicate its purity. It could also be pea water, right? It could also be sewage water. It just tests for the presence of water. As long as there are H2O molecules, it's going to give you an answer, right? But it's going to give you a color change. But you realize that for purity, what do we do? What do we do? Chapter number 1, states of matter. What do we do for purity? For purity, you look at the melting points and the boiling points, please. So every pure substance on the face of planet Earth has a fixed and a specific melting and boiling point. But when you have impurities added to a substance, things boil over a range of temperatures, right? So if there's impurities are going to increase the boiling point, decrease the melting point, and whatnot. Who cares? But remember, you can't just drink a solution if you say, oh my god, it's water, let's drink it. It does not test. Remember, this test does not mean that the water is pure. For purity, you have to look at the melting points and boiling points, right? Because every pure substance on the face of planet Earth has a fixed melting point and a fixed boiling point, right? And why am I stressing so much on this? Because I know this is going to come in your MCQs. It has come a billion times, and you're going to mess it up by just going, oh, test for water, let's circle A. No. Actually, my question, can I test for water with cobalt chloride? Can I test for water with cobalt chloride? Hmm? Can I test for water? That is what everybody's saying. Yes, 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 yes. I'm going to kill everybody. Do you know why? No, I'm not going to kill you. I'm just joking. I'm joking. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm not going to kill you because I want you guys to use your brains a little. I want you, somebody took a screenshot. Okay. So I want you guys to use your brain a little. You guys should say, it depends. Remember, you need to think critically. I said, can you use cobalt chloride for testing of water? You all said yes. No. Did I specify? You guys should have said it depends. Are you talking about anhydrous cobalt chloride or are you talking about hydrated cobalt chloride? Remember, you dumbos, if it's anhydrous, it's already bonded with water molecules. How is it going to give you a test? How is it going to give you a result? So remember, this comes in the MCQs. He's going to give you 4 options. He's going to say which one is used, which one is used to test for water. He's going to give you like these 2 options, let's suppose. And you dumbos, what you'll do is you'll not see hydrated and you'll just circle B. No, because you realize that anhydrous bonds with water molecules. Hydrated is already bonded with water. So remember, you should have said it depends. If it's anhydrous, what does anhydrous mean? Without water of crystallization. So if it's anhydrous, you can't test it for the presence of water. Huh? If it's hydrated, you can test it. Yes, if it's anhydrous, then you can test it for water. Yes, yes, yes. Sir, you can also check it with universal indicator. Not really, Hood, because you realize if it's pure water, its universal indicator is gonna give you a green color. But it's not just pure water. It's not just pure water, Hood, right? Let's clarify that concept. It's not just pure water. If you have hydrogen gas, universal indicator will also give you a green color. So green just means that it has a pH of 7, right? So it's not necessary that it's going to be water if it has a pH of 7. Many other things. Sodium chloride also has a pH of 7. So does that mean that, you can test it with universal indicator and be like, oh my God, it's water? No, you can't, right? So these are the 2 particular tests for water. Acha, let's come back to the question. So it says, what happens to the color change? You go from white to bluerino. Next, state how the color change can be reversed. How can you reverse the color change? Come on, man. Come on. How can you do this? So you had blue here and you want to go to white. See, you want to take this hydrated salt of copper sulfate and you want to break them down, right? So I've taught you this before. What do you do? What do you do? You heat it. Come on, you just literally write heat it, right? So we heat this beauty here, and once you heat it, the water molecules are going to evaporate. You're going to get the water here, and you're going to be left back with copper sulfate. And that's why it's a reversible reaction, because you can literally add water molecules to copper sulfate to give you hydrated copper sulfate, and you could literally heat it back to give you copper sulfate and water molecules, right? So I state how the color change can be reversed literally by heating the hydrated copper to sulfate crystal. Avinish, you're right, but I'm not gonna, say read out your answer loud. You know why? Because it's not written in the marking scheme. So you're right. If you write it, you're gonna get a mark for it. But let's stick to the O level curriculum. But you're absolutely right. You're right, kiddo. You can absolutely do that. This point is not even because you learn this not even in A levels. This you learn through a teacher, a guy who knows a lot about chemistry. So he'll tell you that you are right. But the guidance, the examiner says he's not going to deduct mark for it. But I don't want to just say it out loud. You are also right. You could do this, but I'm not going to suggest writing it in the paper. You can write it. It's your choice. You write it, you're going to get the answer for it. Sir, what does evaporation till saturated means? वो बाद में पढ़ेंगे, हाँ, कोई नहीं, चिल करो, बस इधर तो सिंपल बात है ना, हीट कर लो, सैचुरेशन मैचुरेशन पढ़ लेंगे. Hmm. We've studied this, Harim. You weren't there for the moles classes. We've studied this in moles and stoichiometry. We've learned saturation वगैरह. Okay, next. Chemical reactions can involve transfer of thermal energy. What is transfer of thermal energy called? Huh? Enthalpy change is the transfer of, what is meant by enthalpy change? It's the transfer of thermal energy during a chemical reaction. So it says chemical reactions can involve transfer of thermal energy. What does he mean by transfer of thermal energy? He means the enthalpy change. He means the energy change, right? The energy differences between reactants and products. Okay, great, awesome. So transfer of thermal energy का क्या मतलब है? ट्रांसफर ऑफ थर्मल एनर्जी का क्या मतलब, एक मिनट गाइस, ट्रांसफर ऑफ थर्मल एनर्जी का मतलब है एंथैल्पी चेंज. सॉरी यार, जस्ट वन सेकंड. यार देखें, पहला पहला एंट्री देखें ना, क्या आया होगा, बैंक डेबिट होगा, जस्ट वन सेकंड. बैंक डेबिट होगा, आपके पास लाइबिलिटी क्रेडिट की होगी उसने, फिर उसने दोबारा क्या एंट्री पास की होगी, एक्सपेंस इनकर होगा, एक्सपेंस टू बैंक हुआ होगा, फिर ऑब्वियसली ही हैज़ टू सेटल दैट लाइबिलिटी, तो लाइबिलिटी उसने ख़त्म की होगी, और आपके पास उसने जो है अपना क्या कहते हैं, पहले बैंक किया और बैंक से पैसे आए, बैंक डेबिट किया और आपके पास लाइबिलिटी क्रेडिट की, फिर एक्सपेंस टू बैंक की और लाइबिलिटी ख़त्म करके उसने रिजर्व को चार्ज कर दी ये अमाउंट, और उसके बाद उसने रिसीवेबल बुक करना था क्योंकि दे स्टिल बैंक लेफ्ट, राइट? तो रिसीवेबल बुक करना था उसने, और उसने जो है चार्ज करना था एसएमओ को, और उसके बाद उसने लाइबिलिटी टू एसएमओ डेबिट की, उसने कॉन्ट्रा एंट्री पास की है, तो डुअल नेट इम्पैक्ट उसने दिया है अपने फाइनेंशियल्स में. तो उसको प्लीज़ आप गौर से ज़रा देखिएगा, ये एंट्रीज पास कर लें, आपको समझ आ जाएगी, ठीक है? तो काइंडली वो प्लीज़ कंप्लीट कर दें. थैंक यू, थैंक यू. Sorry. Acha, sorry. Let's come back to the class. Okay. So tetrachloromethane gas CCl4 reacts with steam as shown. Great, awesome. The reaction is reversible. The forward reaction is exo. So if the forward is exo, the backward is endo, obvious, right? It says state what happens to the position of equilibrium, if anything, when the pressure is increased. Increase in pressure favors fewer moles of gas, or or more moles of gas. Obviously, increase in pressure favors fewer gaseous moles, and we know why. Do you need to write the why in the paper? No, but we know conceptually हो क्या रहा होता है, ली शॉर्टलिस्ट प्रिंसिपल काम कर रहा होता है, और वो समझने के लिए क्लासेस देख रहे हैं. So increase in pressure favors fewer gaseous moles or fewer moles of gas, which are on the which hand side, which are on the, you have to tell the examiner, right, which are on the, देखिए, on the left hand side you have 1 and 2, you have 3 gaseous moles on the left, and you have uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, so you have 5 moles of gas on the right, right? So where are fewer moles? On the left, right? So which are on the left hand side, and therefore what should happen to the position of equilibrium? Therefore position of equilibrium shifts towards, or shifts to the left, yes sir, left. Boom, खत्म. Yes, sir. Is it possible that the that same reaction have same moles at both sides? Yes, it is. And we've discussed this in the class. So let's suppose you have A gaseous reacting with B solid to give you C gas. अब इसमें देखें, if you increase the pressure, you're gonna, and we've also discussed this in the class, right? So if you increase the pressure, what's gonna happen is increase in pressure favors fewer moles of gas. But if you check this, you have 1 mole of gas here and 1 mole here. So in total, you have 2 moles of gas here and 1 mole of gas. Oh, you dumbo! This is not a gas. This is a solid. B is a solid. So you have 1 mole of gas on the left and you have 1 mole of gas on the right. So you're going to tell the examiner, hey, increase in pressure favors fewer gaseous moles, but you dumb examiner, there are equal moles of gas on both hand sides. Therefore, there's going to be no effect on the position of equilibrium. That's it. You tell the examiner there's no. And why does it only talk about gaseous moles? We've done in the class, right? So solids and liquids and aqueous have no impact on the moles of gas. We've discussed this, right? Because gases exert a pressure on the walls of container, huh? पढ़ा हुआ है सब कुछ पढ़ा हुआ है आज तो सिर्फ प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं got it awesome let's move forward let's kill this paper let's destroy it let's just छत से छलांग मार दें sorry what does your cup say it says A.F. Ferguson and Co. PwC by profession I'm an accountant na chartered accountant yeah, what is a chartered accountant doing teaching chemistry? I also don't know. I also don't know. I don't know what I'm doing with life. I'm just chilling. I don't know. I should just, jump off the roof. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, please. I do not condone any of this behavior. I'm just crazy. मेरा दिमाग सट के आज सैटरडे को भी मैं ऑफिस में बैठा हुआ था क्लास के लिए आया हूँ घर वापस जाऊंगा तो वैसे मेरा दिमाग थोड़ा सा हिला हुआ है कोई नहीं Alice in has anybody watched Alice in the Wonderland? Yeah, if you want to picture Sir Suleiman from Alice in the Wonderland, think of me like the Mad Hatter. तो पता नहीं पागल सा हूँ मैं Nitrogen is converted into ammonia in the Haber process. Obviously, we know. What are the conditions for the Haber process? Sir, I was so scared of the Mad Hatter. You should be scared of me as well. Okay, what are the conditions for the Haber process? You know that a temperature of 450 degrees Celsius is used. You know that the pressure that is used is how much? It's 200 atmospheres. And obviously, the catalyst is iron solid. Yes, I hope you've watched the recorded lectures for these two. Sir, do you know why they called me they called Mad Hatter? I don't know. I don't know why they called Mad Hatter Mad Hatter. Nobody cares. Acha, आगे. State the source of hydrogen for Haber process. You must have seen that in the recording. What was the source for hydrogen? Hydrogen comes from absolutely natural gas. बिल्कुल hydrocarbon से कह दे, natural gas से कह दे, cracking of hydrocarbons. You could say whatever, right? So you could say cracking of hydrocarbons, or you could also say the more industrial and economical way to do it is basically from natural gas, or you could say methane, right? So you could say that hydrogen can be obtained from cracking of hydrocarbons, because both are the right way to get hydrogen, but the better way of getting it is the cheaper way of getting it is through natural gas. That's why if you take your marking schemes out, no, Avinish, don't say splitting of hydrocarbons. That's a different concept. फिर वो एग्जामिनर समझेगा यू टॉक अबाउट रेडिकल्स अब आपको उसको क्या पता कि यू डोंट इवन नो व्हाट रेडिकल्स आर सो जस्ट राइट क्रैकिंग ऑफ हार्ट सी यू हैव टू बी वेरी वेरी स्पेसिफिक व्हेन आंसरिंग you know what radicals are that's crazy you shouldn't be knowing this at this level because it's just going to confuse you हैं तो सारी ए लेवल्स ओ लेवल्स में पढ़ लेनी है अच्छा तो just write cracking of hydrocarbons splitting is not the right way to say it right so cracking of hydrocarbons or what is cracking of hydrocarbons you learn this in organic chemistry which will be commencing inshallah in the next few days so organic chemistry I'll make sure you all ace those exams अच्छा natural gas is the more economical way that's why you're going to find this in a lot of marking schemes cracking of hydrocarbons you'll see it in the marking schemes of 2016 2017 you'll see this but both are right you could write both right natural gas methane अच्छा natural gas से आता कैसे you don't need to know but if you want to know natural gas या methane से कैसे आता है ये basically H2O steam के साथ react करता है और ये मनहूस आपको देता है कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड और हाइड्रोजन गैस do you need to know this no absolutely not आगे बढ़ें सर आपको कैसे पता? मुझे भी नहीं पता कि मुझे कैसे पता. Write a chemical equation for the reaction occurring in the Haber process and give the typical conditions. So write the chemical equation of Haber process. Let's do this. So what happens in Haber process? You take nitrogen from the fractional distillation of air, right? Not just air, you fractionally distill the air, right? So what you do is you cool it down and blah blah blah. You learn that later on in the ATP classes. So now you take nitrogen from air and you take hydrogen from methane or natural gas, or you take it from, the cracking of hydrocarbons, and it's a reversible reaction. Why is it a reversible reaction? Why is it a reversible reaction? You don't need to know this. Why is it a why is it a reversible reaction? Because you realize that the reactants can go into the products, but the products can also go back into the reactants, right? I've given you guys the scientific reasoning for it when I talked about the collision theory and the energy change, but that's not in your course. Okay. So nitrogen reacts with hydrogen to give you ammonia, and you balance it. So you have one nitrogen on the left, but you have two on the right. So one को मैं किससे multiply करूं कि 2i x equals 2. Done, sir. So you have now two nitrogens on the right and you have six hydrogens on the left. Six hydrogens on the right, but on the left you only have two hydrogens. So 2 को मैं किससे multiply करूं कि 6 side, right? You need 6 on the left too. That's what balancing means. That atoms on the left and right must be equal. So 6 divided by 2, that gives you 3. Boom shakalaka. Write the state symbol. Nitrogen is a gas. What the hell? What just happened? What just happened? Did you guys see my screen just went boom? What the hell? What the hell, man? The screen just went boom. Yeah, and this is also a beautiful gas, and that's also a very pungent smelling gas. Ammonia literally smells like piss. It has a very strong pungent. That's why we say it's a pungent smelling gas. But it has a pungent smell. Pungent means strong. It has a strong sweat smelling gas. Sir, the iPad couldn't handle how smart you were. I'm not smart. I'm not smart. माफ कर दो यार, मुझे पता नहीं, मैं पागल पागल हूँ. I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing, but कर रहा हूँ, chill कर रहा हूँ, मजे कर रहा हूँ. Yeah. What's the temperature? The temperature is 450 degrees Celsius, and the pressure is 200 atmospheres, right? And or you could say 200. You could say 200 atmospheres, or you could also write it in kilopascals. Can you guys tell me one atmosphere is how many how many kilopascals? It's 100 kilopascals, right? So if you have 200 atmospheres, you literally have how many kilopascals? X cross multiply, what do you get? 200 and add two more zeros. So you could say, hey, it has 20,000 kilopascals. And you could also write it in pascals. You just open this kilo. Kilo means three zeros. So if you already had 20,000, write this beauty and then just add three more zeros to it if you just want to write it in Pascal. So if you don't like the kilo, you add 1, 2, 3. So that's 20 million pascals. Who cares? Nobody cares. It's better to write in atmospheric pressure, or it's better to write it in kilopascals. These two are recommended. बाकी आपकी मर्जी, अगर 20 million pascals भी लिखने तो कोई issue नहीं है. Sir, can you help me with this question after the class is over? Sure, kiddo. Sure. कर लेते हैं, हैं? क्लास खत्म हो तो कर लेते हैं. अच्छा, आगे बढ़े. कैटलिस्ट क्या है? आयरन. अच्छा, मेरे एक क्वेश्चन है. Iron solid, yeah? Achha, I have a question. And this is a very beautiful question. It was asked somewhere in the 2018 exam or whatnot, and it hasn't been asked since. मेरे एक सवाल है. A Haber process is an exothermic reaction, right? Everybody agrees with me? Haber process, contact process, both are exothermic, which means that the forward reaction is exo and the backward reaction is endo. Done. Achha, if I want to increase the amount of ammonia, because we know that the problem with reversible reactions are that it doesn't go into completion, right? We know reversible reactions don't go into completion. That's why we have to manipulate these conditions to make the maximum amount of ammonia. So can somebody tell me, if it's exothermic, what should I do to the temperature to favor exothermic and make more ammonia? What should I do to it? I should decrease the temperature, right? So I have to decrease the temperature, which would favor the exothermic part, and then therefore the ammonia would form more and the equilibrium position would shift to the right? I should decrease the temperature. And you start decreasing the temperature until you reached 450. But then the problem was scientists never went below 450, right? You guys might think to yourself, why didn't scientists ever go below 450? Why didn't they ever go below 450? Think about it. Think to yourself, यार मतलब करने ही जाए यार, कर दे No, Khadija, no, Khadija, no, Khadija, no, 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 no. There's no enzyme. Enzymes are biological catalyst जो आपकी उंगलियों में होते हैं, which are present in living things. Enzyme किधर से आगे किडो? Yes, Noor is right. Noor is right. No, 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 no. Noor is right. Noor is right. Noor is right. The rate of reaction would decrease. The rate of reaction would decrease. Absolutely. और ईशन ने जो आंसर लिखा है, मेरे ख्याल से ईशन ने किस क्लास से देखा है आपने, बड़ा जबरदस्त आंसर लिखा है. So you're right. You're right. Remember, if I go below 450 degrees Celsius, you know that if I decrease the temperature, the rate of reaction will also decrease. So it will take more time to make ammonia. और आपको मजे की बात बताऊं, ammonia की percentage 450 degrees Celsius पे भी you almost get 98 to 99% of ammonia. So only for, like, 0.999%, yes, you are now right, Avinish. So only for 0.99%, scientists don't want to slow the rate of reaction, because remember, on one side, if you decrease the temperature, you would get more percentage of ammonia, but that's only a very, very minimal amount. You're already getting 98, 99. But if you further go below 450, what's going to happen is that you would get more ammonia effectively, but the rate of reaction is going to be less. So it's a very good compromise between rate and the percentage of ammonia, between rate and the yield of ammonia, right? So remember, the reason why you don't go below 450 is because it is going to lower the rate of reaction, and 450 is that sweet spot in which you also get a very good output of ammonia, and you also have a very good rate of reaction, right? Similar is the case with pressure, right? So if I say, hey, increase in pressure, if I further start to increase the pressure, it'll favor fewer modes of gas or more modes of gas. Increase in pressure will favor more modes of gas, right? No, wrong, 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 Khadija. Increase in pressure will favor fewer modes of gas. We've proven this. There's no rote learning here. We've already proven this. If you increase the pressure, it will favor fewer modes of gas. We've studied this in the class. Le Chatelier's principle. क्या कहता है? अगर आप pressure बढ़ाते हो, what's going to happen? The system will want to decrease it by favoring fewer modes. That means you have fewer molecules, and which means you have less pressure then, right? So increase in pressure favors fewer gaseous modes. Now, fewer gaseous moles are on the right hand side. So why don't I go above 200? Why don't I go above 200? Come on. Why don't I just go above 200 atmospheres, right? Because if I go above 200 atmosphere, I'm going to increase more pressure and I get more ammonia. Absolutely. Ishar is right. Ishar is right. It's not about being dangerous. It's about cost. The industrialists care about the money, 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 money. If you want to go above 200, you'll need more big pipes. You'll need more infrastructure. You'll also need, heavy infrastructure, which would, and above 200 would mean you're going to have more electricity cost, more pumps. You need more power, more pumps and whatnot. So you need to understand that 200 atmospheres is the sweet spot. You get a beautiful amount of ammonia, but you also need to realize that you also have a good cost, right? So it's a good compromise between cost and the amount of ammonia that you get, right? So remember, you don't go above 200 because it's going to cost you higher. It's going to cost you higher, right? This is the best compromise between, one of the very good compromise between the cost and the amount of ammonia that you get. So remember, this question was tested for 4 marks. 2 marks for the temperature bit and 2 marks for the pressure bit sometime in 2018, 2019. If you want to go, you can go, kiddo. It's fine. It's fine. You can go and just watch the recording later on when it's uploaded to YouTube. Okay. Ammonia is converted into nitric acid. Nobody cares. The first stage of conversion, blah, 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 blah. The forward reaction is exothermic. Yes. So if the forward is exo, the backward should be endo. Absolutely, sir. Now, it says complete figure 3.1 using the word increase, decrease, or no change. What happens when you decrease the pressure to the equilibrium? What happens when you decrease the pressure? What is the effect on equilibrium and the yield of NO? Come on. Decrease in pressure favors more moles of gas, more gaseous moles, and more gaseous moles. You have 9 moles here, and you have 4 plus 6. You have 10 moles here. So in decrease in pressure favors more moles of gas, more moles of gas. Thank you. तो अगर आप more moles of gas favor करेंगे, which is the right hand side, what should happen to the equilibrium shifts to the right, and what should happen to NO? The NO amount would increase. अच्छा मजे की बात, should I write increase or should I write increases? Should I write increase or increases? Increase or increases? Or should I write increases the amount of? No, he said just use the word increases, decreases or no चीज. तो अपने से टर्नेलिया नहीं मानी, increases लिख लें, बस खत्म. ठीक है? Because decrease in pressure favors more gaseous moles, right? Which are on which hand side? More. इस chapter में और कुछ भी नहीं है. More gaseous moles, which are on the right hand side. Therefore, the position of equilibrium shifts to the right and it makes more NO, more NO. Done. इंक्रीज पे नम नहीं मिलेंगे, नहीं नहीं मिलेंगे, मैं कह रहा हूं नहीं, मैं अगर मैं चेकर होता ना मैं जीरो दे देता, मैंने लिखा हुआ है कि इंक्रीजेस लिखो, क्यों इंक्रीज लिख रहे हो? यार चिल, थोड़ा सा ना, थोड़ा सा मिल जाएंगे यार, मिल जाएंगे, बट आई वांट यू गाइस टू बी परफेक्ट यार। अक्सर ना मैं आपको एक बात बताता हूँ, अक्सर लिखा होता है नेम, name the chemical, name it, and what students do is they write, like for example it's sulfuric acid, so instead of writing sulfuric acid they write H2SO4. Cambridge still gives a mark for this. Cambridge gives a mark, but I want you guys to be prim and proper, so if it says name, write the name, if it says write the formula, write the formula. Please just answer whatever the question says. Decrease in temperature favors exo endo, it favors exo, which is the forward reaction or the reverse reaction. Exo is the forward reaction, so what's going to happen, it favors the forward reaction. It favors exo, which is the forward reaction, so NO, the position of the equilibrium should shift to the right hand side, and NO would increase again, so increases. Khadam. आगे 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 आगे, रिमूविंग द कैटलिस्ट, रिमूविंग द कैटलिस्ट, एडिंग, अच्छा आई एम नॉट सेइंग रिमूविंग, ऐड इट, ऐड कर दो भाई, इसको कैम्ब्रिज के एग्जामिनर को खुश कर दो यार, रिमूव की जगह ऐड कर दो, चलो चलो ऐड कर दो, चलो नहीं नहीं ऐड कर दो, इस मनहूस को खुश कर दो, इसको कौन बताएगा, हु इज गोना टेल द कैम्ब्रिज एग्जामिनर दैट अ कैटलिस्ट डज नॉट अफेक्ट द पोजीशन ऑफ इक्विलिब्रियम, यू डम पर्सन, एंड इफ द कैम्ब्रिज एग्जामिनर आस्क्स यू व्हाई डज इट नॉट affect the position of equilibrium, fun fact, he's not going to ask you this because he also knows that you are going to study this in A levels, right? You just need to know that it does not affect the position of equilibrium. So what is going to happen? No change. Cambridge, yeah, are you trying to play mind games with me? Equilibrium has, the catalyst has only affects the rate of reaction. What if I asked you what effect does it have on the, चलो इधर हम अपने से rate of reaction भी लिख लेते, चलो चलो जी, चलो जी, चलो 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 चलो, I'm just crazy, sorry. Oh my god. चलो इधर हम अपने से टर्नेली मार लेते हैं, थोड़ी सी अपने से ऐड कर लेते हैं, चलो जी बताओ। चलो दिलदार चलो, चांद के हैं पार चलो, चलो जी बताएं जी, डिक्रीजिंग द टेम्परेचर रेट ऑफ रिएक्शन पे क्या इफेक्ट होगा, कम ऑन। डिक्रीज इन प्रेशर मींस द पार्टिकल्स आर गोना मूव फार एंड अपार्ट, which is going to do what, which is going to do what, the frequency of the collisions are going to decrease, फिर देखिए, if this is my beautiful, if this is, see, the 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 point of doing past paper questions is not to tell you how awesome I am, but it is to revise all the concepts for you, ठीक है ना, तो आपको पता लगे कि आंसर्स कैसे देने और कॉन्सेप्ट्स कैसे देने। ओके, so initially what was happening was all these particles were very close together, so the frequency of collision was very high and the rate was very high. Now I'm saying, what if I decrease the pressure, what if I decrease the pressurino, right? So I move the piston outwards. So if I move it outwards, the gas particles are going to move far and apart. I'm also giving you guys the reasoning of how to write in the exam if a theoretical question is asked. So they're going to move far and far and apart means the frequency of collisions, decreases or increases? Decreases. And what happens to the total effective collisions? Obviously, total effective or total successful collisions are gonna decrease, and therefore the rate of reaction is gonna decrease. तो ये बातें ये हमने थ्योरी में की हुई हैं सारी बातें, लेकिन चलो रिवाइज कर रहे थे. So it's gonna decrease. What if I said, what effect would it have? Effect would it have on the rate of forward reaction? What effect would it have on the rate of reverse reaction? क्या effect होगा? Forward और reverse के effect में कोई difference होगा? Will there be any difference between the effect of pressure on forward or backward reaction? Come on, I've stressed an entire class on this. Come on, shabash. Will it matter whether it's a forward or backward reaction for rate of reaction? Would it matter for rate कि forward है या backward है? No, 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 no. Remember, rate is correlated. Thank you everybody. Thank you. Remember, हमने पढ़ा था कि rate is correlated with collision theory. It's not correlated with reversible. Reversible जाए बाढ़ में. अगर pressure कम करोगे, rate is gonna decrease. Be it forward, be it backward. Doesn't make a difference. अगर टेम्परेचर कम करोगे रेट इज गोना डिक्रीज, अगर टेम्परेचर बढ़ाओगे रेट इज गोना इंक्रीज, बीट फॉरवर्ड बीट बैकवर्ड वी डोंट केयर, ठीक है ना, दोनों का करें, बिकॉज इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ कोलिजंस, द परसेंटेज ऑफ पार्टिकल्स दैट हैव एक्टिवेशन एनर्जी. इट डज नॉट हैव टू डू विद रिवर्सिबल फॉरवर्ड और बैकवर्ड. रिमेंबर दिस प्लीज, इट्स ऑलवेज आस्क्ड इन द पेपर 150%, ठीक है ना. चलो अच्छा, तो क्या होगा? इफ यू डिक्रीज, ओके, डिक्रीजिंग द टेम्परेचर ऑब्वियसली डिक्रीजेस द रेट ऑफ रिएक्शन, यू नो व्हाई, आई डोंट वांट टू गो इनटू द रिमूविंग द कैटलिस्ट वुड डिक्रीज द रेट ऑफ रिएक्शन। डन। तो अगर रेट साथ में आता तो ये तीनों डिक्रीज करते रेट। खत्म, पढ़ें आगे जाएं? आगे जाएं कि ना जाएं? ये डायग्राम अच्छा है, इसको मैं इधर ही छोड़ देता हूँ। Oh yeah. Carbon dioxide is a reactant of photosynthesis. What's photosynthesis? The question is about gases found in clear air, dry gas. अच्छा, dry air में क्या क्या होता है बताएं जी। ये वैसे हम आगे पढ़ेंगे, we're going to learn this. You haven't studied chemistry of the environment. हालांकि मैंने आपको पूरी केमिस्ट्री में टाइम टू टाइम बताया कि एयर में क्या क्या होता है। So you have 78% nitrogen, you have 21% to oxygen, and 1% is carbon dioxide and noble gases, out of which argon is in the highest percentage. It's almost 0.9%. Right? So remember, 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, 1% is carbon dioxide and other noble gases like argon and whatnot, helium, argon, whatnot. Right? But noble gases में भी सबसे ज़्यादा कौन सा होता है? सबसे ज़्यादा आपके पास होता है argon. ठीक है? नाइट्रोजन, ऑक्सीजन, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड। हाँ। अच्छा, तो फिर ड्राई लिखने की क्या जरूरत थी? मतलब इसको पागल कुत्ते ने काटा है। Has a wild dog bitten the examiner that he has written dry? What's so special about writing dry air? What if he had just written air? Then what would the difference be? मतलब क्यों? सोचा करें ना, तब दिमाग पे, अपने छोटे छोटे दिमाग पे जोड़। अविनेश इज एब्सोल्युटली राइट, ईशल इज एब्सोल्युटली राइट, यू गाइस आर सो ऑसम, बिकॉज ड्राई एयर इंडिकेट्स दैट it's without the water molecules in the air, which you call water vapors. There are no, you know that in the air there are water vapors. If it just said air, you would also write H2O gas. You also have water vapors in the air. Also I have water vapors. Yes, जब आप कहते हैं ह्यूमिडिटी हो गई, ये हो गया, वो हो गया, so remember that's the difference. हाँ, लेकिन अगर सवाल पूछे व्हाट्स द कॉम्पोजिशन ऑफ एयर, तो लिख लेना 78% नाइट्रोजन, ऑक्सीजन, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, ब्रैकेट में खैर है वाटर वेपर भी लिख लेना है। नेम द टू प्रोडक्ट्स ऑफ फोटोसिंथेसिस। चलो भाई, फोटोसिंथेसिस क्या होता है? फोटोसिंथेसिस क्या होता है? कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड रिएक्ट्स विद वाटर, रीनो, इन द प्रेजेंस ऑफ, in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. You've studied this since elementary school. Chlorophyll वो green green चीज होती है। It gives you glucose C6H12O6 and it gives you oxygen. It's a devil's number, 6 and 6. Yeah. So what are the two names? See, is again he's saying name. So even if you had written, C6H12O6, Cambridge is very lenient in this case. So Cambridge would have given you marks. But if I were the examiner, I would have never given you the marks. So why put yourself at risk? Just if it's saying name, write the name. Oxygen and glucose. If you follow the instructions of the examiner, you're more likely to get a distinction. Please, I want a distinction this year. I have had 9 distinctions. I want the 10th distinction this time. I swear I will put so much effort in the past paper session. I will try my level best. रमजान में रात रात तक मैं आपके साथ बैठूंगा, मैं पेपर भी कराऊंगा, और मेरा पेपर का कराने का तरीका आप लोगों को पता है मैं कैसे कराता हूँ पेपर्स। तो मैं पेपर भी कराऊंगा, देन आई विल आल्सो डू द टॉपिक वाइज क्वेश्चंस विद यू। सो एक पेपर करेंगे हर दिन, और हर दिन एमसीक्यू, एटीपी, एटीपी का तो मैं ऐसे आपको कराऊंगा कि किसका मार्क नहीं कटेगा। एटीपी, एमसीक्यू, थ्योरी, एंड ऑल्सो द टॉपिक दैट यू गाइस देन से कि सर इसमें थोड़ा इशू है, तो उस पूरे टॉपिक का सवाल हम फिर करने जाएंगे। Sir, why do you never give homework? Because I don't believe in homework, Avinish. Whatever I do in the class, just do that in your home. You're bound to get an A star or an A. Just do that once on your own. That's it. That's all I request. ठीक है, ए स्टार आएगा, डिस्टिंक्शन आएगी, बस एक दफा कर लेना। ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ ऑल माय स्टूडेंट्स who've ever scored a distinction, I ask them, distinction I don't attribute it to myself, because it's all also up to the student, the effort that the student puts in. I attribute to myself when a student goes from a U to an A, or from a U to an A star. Recently, one of my students who studied previously from somewhere else, she got a U and she went to an A. She's currently in France now. So I'm so happy for her, right? Don't read the book, don't do anything, I promise, don't do anything on your own. Just read the notes that I give you, like the lectures that I do. Just make notes simultaneously, revise them once, and start solving questions the way I do it. You don't need to read any book, you don't need to do anything on your own, please. You just get confused. Don't follow multiple teachers, don't follow multiple mentors, I beg you all. ठीक? Sir, without a good teacher you cannot. No, it's not about me, it's about them. So I asked them कि आप लोग क्या करते हैं, right? So I asked them, what do you do extra? This is, sir, literally all those 9 students. They've just told me one thing, sir. We've taken your classes. We've not missed a single class. We make notes. We do the questions that you do in the class. Once we do it on our own, and then we just solve extra practice questions. We just do extra practice questions and check with the marking scheme. That's it. That's all we do. Literally, that's all you need for a distinction. That's all. And he said that we follow your thought process. All those students said that we're going to get full in the MCQs. So some of you guys might think that the MCQs are difficult. I will make sure to make the MCQs a piece of cake for you guys. So just trust me. Just trust me. Have faith in me. I have a track record for 6-7 years now. बस यकीन मानो ठीक है बस ये कर लो एक दफा खुद अच्छा स्टेट द मेन सोर्स देखिए कुछ भी डिफरेंट नहीं नथिंग इज डिफरेंट we've done so many questions and it's just repetition after repetition वही state the main source of each gas used in Haber process what's the main source for nitrogen शाबा अब हजार दफा कभी मैंने बताया air is the main source right air and how do you get it from air you fractionally distill the air right for hydrogen that's methane लिख लो natural gas लिख लो better है natural gas लिख लो चलो नेचुरल गैस या क्रैकिंग ऑफ हाइड्रोकार्बन लिख लो मर्जी वाली बात है आपकी मर्जी है नेचुरल गैस लिख लो खुश 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 नेचुरल गैस लिख लो मेथेन लिख लो मर्जी है नॉट मीथीन देयर इज नो सच थिंग एज मीथीन इट्स मेथ ANE, and you learn this later on in organic chemistry, done? Or you could also write cracking of a तीनों में से जो मर्जी लिखो अच्छा आप लोगों को ना sometimes when you take out the marking scheme it'll say natural gas sometimes it'll say methane sometimes it'll say cracking of hydrocarbons remember the marking scheme that you get in Pakistan is very refined it only has one point in it but Cambridge when Cambridge is checking your paper it'll have this it'll have this it'll have this it'll have a lot more options as well so just chill it's not about spelling Avinish if you make an error to this spelling you'll get zero and why you learn this in organic chemistry okay state the typical conditions blah 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 blah, blah. It's saying the forward is exo and the back you don't have to do this when you solve questions I can do blah 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 because I've read these questions a billion times does spelling affect your marks yes in organic chemistry if you misspell this you're gonna get zero but I'll teach you how to spell things just hold on your horses acha state the typical conditions and name the catalyst for Haber process chalo ji shabash what is the temperature shabash temperature 450 degrees celsius sereno pressure is 200 atmosphere and catalyst is iron or fe's I'll only get 2 out of 3 why will I get 2 out of 3 बोले एक तो मैंने अपनी से टर्नेली की क्यों मैंने इधर डिग्री सेल्सियस लिखा है जब लिखा हुआ है डिग्री सेल्सियस मैं क्यों लिख रहा हूँ राइट and I'll get 2 marks out of 3 because मैंने अपने से टर्नेली क्या की it's asking the answer is किलो पास्कल मैं अपने से ATM लिख रहा हूँ क्यों लिख रहा हूँ किलो पास्कल में मांग रहे तो किलो पास्कल में तो I know that 200 atmospheric pressure is used right and 1 atmosphere is about 100 kilopascals so 200 atmosphere should be x क्रॉस और देखिए यार हर चीज को मतलब कभी कभार दिमाग भी इस्तेमाल करें ना हर चीज को क्रॉस मल्टीप्लाई ब्लू दिस इज ओनली फॉर स्टूडेंट्स हुज मैथ इज वीक but if you know that 1 atmosphere is 100 kilopascal let's think about it like this I say Hur is equal to 100 harim right if Hur is equal to 100 harim then 200 Hur should be equal to 20,000 harim right because 200 multiplied by 100 so कुछ चीजें दिमाग में करिएगा लेकिन नहीं होता तो खैर क्रॉस मल्टीप्लाई से करें okay so what do you get 200 this is two zeros and these are two zeros so 20000 that's 20,000 kilopascals खत्म आगे बढ़े आगे बढ़े आगे अगेन कंप्लीट अच्छा कुछ 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 डिफरेंस है हम पास्ट पेपर्स ही कर रहे हैं ना it's all repetition remember Cambridge is pathetic it's stupid I hate it nowadays I'm sorry Cambridge if you're listening you need to update your questions it's same you're just minting money from Pakistani students and from Indian students and from students all across the world you literally yeah make them analyze questions make difficult questions instead of just repeating the same thing over and over again but you know what Cambridge is never going to do that because they want money right so they're going to literally give you the same questions over and look at this same question what is the term what is this it's a very instructed course be it O level A levels एक ही चीज ये देखिए exo endo same thing predict the temperature equilibrium no difference whatsoever so it's all a game of concepts and past papers so that's why I focus more on concepts because if you have good concepts you are bound to ace the exam just one second जी अली कैसे चीजें वहाँ बताओ हुकुम कर हाँ हाँ यार वो प्रॉब्ली 15 से शुरू होगा यार, इंशाल्लाह। बस कर ले, अगर तू नहीं करना चाहता तो कर ले, कोई इशू नहीं है, कर ले फिर अपना हिसाब किताब कर, लेकिन 15 से शुरू हो, खैर है, थोड़ा सा फिर क्रंच कर लेना ना, अपना टाइम थोड़ा क्रंच कर लेना, कोई इशू नहीं है। हाँ पक्की बात है, डेफिनेटली। हम्म हम्म हम्म। मेरे पास तो जिगर एक क्लास का भी टाइम नहीं होता, तो मैं तो क्रैश कोर्स नहीं कराऊंगा। लेकिन प्रॉब्ली मैं तो अपना कोई प्रीमियम शीमियम बच्चों के साथ एवी बैठ के ना, एवी पूरे क्लासेस हम वैसे रिवाइज करेंगे, सो इट्स नॉट गोना बी पेड मेरी तरफ से तो। हाँ तू कर लेना, मेरे पास तो टाइम नहीं, तुझे पता है 9 बजे जाता हूँ, 3 बजे 4 बजे रात के आता हूँ। सही है। हाँ डन डन डन। दो। हाँ सही है, कर ले, ठीक है, मैं तो तुझे पहले भी कहता था मल्टीपल इस्तेमाल कर, तुझे मैंने बहुत दफा कहा है, और खुलेगा क्यों नहीं खुलेगा यार। ये कोई। हाँ हाँ। इजी इजी हो जाएगा, हो जाए, तुझे 5 दिन का है ना। सही है, ओके, अल्लाह हाफिज। अच्छा, complete table 3.1 to show the effect Haber process, use only the words. Sir, you look like a mafia boss. No no भाई, कोई माफिया बॉस बूस नहीं हूँ, क्या हो गया, chill chill chill, let me see my picture. Oh yeah, damn, I actually do look like a mafia, but no, I'm not. Pablo Escobar, who? No, I'm just joking. I'm just a little nutsy cuckoo, right? Un poco loco. Has anybody watched Coco? Coco movie किसी ने देखी? It's a very beautiful movie. It's about family, tradition, whatnot. Yeah, Coco. Coco is a good movie. C-O. I think that's the movie's name. I don't know. Oh, I'm Yamor. नहीं देखी किसी ने? हाँ, बड़ी अच्छी फिल्म है, आप लोगों को तो देखनी चाहिए। Yeah, I have seen it. It's a beautiful movie. Yeah. Put them where your shoes. I'm Yamor, something like that. Okay. Temperature increases. The effect of concentration at equilibrium. Effect of NH3. So if you increase the temperature, it's gonna favor the endothermic, and which is the left, which is the reverse reaction. Not, you're not gonna say left, you're gonna say which is the reverse reaction, or which is the forward reaction. In this case, endothermic is the backward reaction or the reverse reaction, right? So what will happen to the amount of NH3? Obviously, the position of the equilibrium is going to shift to the left because it favors endo, which is the reverse reaction, and the NH3 concentration is going to decrease. So decreases. Does it want you to write the Y? No, it doesn't. अच्छा डिक्रीज लिखूं कि डिक्रीजेस लिखूं? डिक्रीजेस। व्हाट कलर इज द स्काई? आई एम योर ओके, चलो आगे। प्रेशर डिक्रीजेस, डिक्रीज इन प्रेशर फेवर्स more moles of gas. Remember, not just more moles of gas or more gaseous moles. Acha, you have 4 moles of gas on the left terreno, you have 2 moles on the right terreno. So more moles of gas on the left. What will happen to NH3? Obviously, a decrease in pressure favors more moles of gas which are on the left hand side. Therefore, the position of the equilibrium will shift to the left, and the amount of NH3 is going to decrease a redo. What color is the sky? I'm Yamor. Yeah. You said put them on your head. I'm Yamor. अच्छा, no catalyst. अच्छा चलो जी, बोलो, इस इसको कौन समझाएगा? इस कैम्ब्रिज डफर को कौन समझाएगा, बताएं जी। What happened to, I can actually say whatever I want to Cambridge. I don't give a shit. They can do anything. Sorry guys, sorry for my bad language. Sorry. But what's gonna happen? You don't say nothing, then Cambridge will cut your mark. He'll say, okay, you try to be over smart, I'll cut your mark. Whatever is written here, it says no change, so I'll write no change instead of nothing. Yeah, if I write nothing, 0 marks, only get 2 marks for this. Then let's just be question specific. Yeah. आज जाने की जिद ना करो यार, बस मैं थक गया हूँ। अपनी मर्जी का माल, वो जब दिल चाहे पढ़ाया, जब दिल चाहे नहीं, यार बड़ा बदनाम हो जाऊंगा ऐसे। बस खत्म। अच्छा, टेल मी समथिंग, वाज रिवर्सिबल रिएक्शन डिफिकल्ट? क्या है इसमें? वही चीज, अब देखो अगला, वही गिव द टर्म नेम ना, ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला, इसको क्या कहते हैं, वाटर ऑफ क्रिस्टलाइजेशन कहते हैं इसको, व्हाटएवर यार, सच क्या हलवा है यार, क्या है यार इसमें, क्या है? वही पोजीशन ऑफ इक्विलिब्रियम, एंड इसको बड़ी बड़ी चीजें लिखनी है, मतलब कितना आसान है यार। I've done all. I've just not done electrolysis with you. Although electrolysis के जितने rest के सवाल हैं, all are available on your portal. जितने questions हैं, ये मैं extra कर रहा हूँ. आपको पता है portal पे rest के नाम से सब कुछ is already available. But I'm doing this extra question. I've not done electrolysis yet with you guys. The extra electrolysis with you because I want to do metals first. Electrolysis का थोड़ा सा हिस्सा metals में जो कि aluminum की extraction है. तो वो एक दफा हो जाए ना. अच्छा मेरे ख्याल से acid bases and salts के बाद organic chemistry नहीं शुरू करते. We're gonna first do metals, then we'll do periodic table, chemistry of the environment. इन तीनों को 5 दिनों में 6 दिनों में खत्म कर लेंगे. बल्कि it'll take us 10 days to finish these 3 chapters. So on the 11th of February we'll start organic chemistry. In 10 days organic chemistry will be over and we'll be done with our course. And then फिर end में organic chemistry कर ले तो फिर कड़काते हैं यार. और फिर 1st March से past paper session will commence. It's your choice. If you want to enroll in the past paper session, you can. If you don't, you don't. It's fine. No pressure whatsoever. If you feel like you could practice on your own, बिल्कुल अपनी मर्जी है. ठीक है. तो past paper session आपकी मर्जी है. But keep on spreading the word of knowledge. I want to reach as many kids as possible. I want to reach as many people as possible. And the only reason for that is not because I need it, but because they need it. I want to create a positive impact in the society. I want to tell students that this is a piece of cake. You can do it. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. What you need to focus on is developing your character, building your character, doing something big in life, being entrepreneurs, being big shots in life. I expect so much of you. I want you guys to make a change in the society, make a positive impact in the society. You can do this. Wake up every morning, look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I am gonna ace the day. I will slay the day, as the girls say, right? So slay the day, slay your life. Don't slay your life, but slay the day. Do what you have to do in order to reach as many people as possible and in order to create a positive impact, not just in the society, but wherever you go, everybody knows, yeah, this is the guy, this is the girl who has done something big for the future, who has done something for the generations to come. You guys might think that there's a lot of pressure on you because of what I'm saying, but trust me, creating a change is very easy. You just need to put your heart and soul into it, and you just need to have that fire from the inside, that ambition from the inside that you want to do something big in life. So please, I urge each and every one of you that you guys can do amazing things. Each and every one of you can do amazing things. Grade is just a byproduct. If you take the classes, if you've taken the lectures, if you practice the questions, you will get an A star guaranteed from my end. I promise. Take the classes, take the lectures, do the practice, and that's it. Analyze yourself. But more than that, you all need to do something big in life. I don't care in which field it is, be it in science, be it in fashion, be it in clothing brands, whatever you do, just try to create as much harmony as possible in this universe because the universe needs it. There's a lot of instability, and because things are not stable, that's why they react. Chapter number 3, chemical bonding, we know that because the reason why atoms or elements react is because they don't have a stable electronic configuration, right? And what does a stable electronic configuration mean? It means that it does not have a complete octet or a complete duplet. So you guys need to be noble gases because noble gases have a stable electronic configuration. They don't react for your O levels and IGCSE. So please and please try to be those noble gases. Try to stabilize yourself. Try to have stable electronic configurations so that you guys can help other people in your life. Sorry for bringing in chemistry to this. It shouldn't have been integrated so abruptly, but it is what it is. ठीक है, तो बड़ा काम करें. Best of luck and see you all not tomorrow कल क्लास मैं नहीं ले रहा भाई, बस ना संडे को भी अब क्लास लूं. So see you all on Monday. We'll continue with acid, bases and salts, and we are gonna hopefully wrap up this chapter by the 5th of February. और फिर 10 दिन हम लगा लेंगे बाकी 3 चैप्टर्स पे और 10 दिन ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री और कोर्स खत्म. मेरी तरफ से आपको टाटा बाय बाय हो जाएगा. फिर जिस बंदे ने पास्ट पेपर में बैठना है बैठे, जिसने नहीं बैठना ना बैठे, और फेयरवेल क्लास एक रख लेंगे. ठीक है, चलिए क्लास खत्म हो गई. एक सवाल था अविनेश का, वो मैं जवाब दे देता हूँ, बाकी यू गाइस कैन लीव. चलो ठीक है, मैं क्लास ना इधर पॉज कर देता हूँ मीटिंग. बाकी जो अविनेश का सवाल सुनना चाहते हैं, यू गाइस कैन स्टे.